I haven't played so much Planetside 2 lately, although it's still a game that I like and enjoy a lot when I do play. Having that said, I wanted to get back into the game since there's another developer that has now taken over the continuous work when it comes to Planetside 2. So I thought we'll look into that when it comes to how they are continuing the work when it comes to Planetside 2, and maybe also our expectations and of course your thoughts as well. Yes, Toadman Interactive has been taking over the development duties for Planetside 2, and with that said, Rogue Planet Games is now leaving the scene when it comes to their work with Planetside 2 that did last over a decade. Although Daybreak Games' publishing team will continue to deal with marketing and community support from what I can read. On the 15th of April, Toadman Interactive published an update, if you will, on Planetside2.com, and I thought we'll look into that in order to hear what they say and what they have in mind when it comes to the future development of Planetside 2. Dear Oraxians, we are excited to announce that our team at Toadman Interactive is taking over development duties for Planetside 2. Our colleagues at Rogue Planet Games have created a unique gaming experience that has thrived for over a decade. We have assembled a team of developers who have many years of experience working on massively multiplayer online games and first-person shooters. Although we're not the purchaser of the franchise, the team is delighted to carry the Planetside 2 torch forward. Additionally, we will continue working with the Daybreak Games publishing team to ensure the game continues to receive best-in-class marketing and community support. Our vision for Planetside 2 is to highlight unique aspects that have given it such a storied place in gaming history while improving the general game experience. To that end, we've laid out 3 major principles to guide us moving forward, along with our 2024 roadmap following below. A renewed focus on the elements that make Planetside 2 great, rebalancing mechanics and content while addressing the current pain points that get in the way. Create more objective-based player goals within the core gameplay loop to capitalize better on the breadth of Planetside 2's potential. Infuse each major update with more theme, lore, and world building to give more structure and context to the world we all inhabit. So first off, they talk about rebalancing when it comes to mechanics and content. That is something they've already started to do here in Q1 when it comes to fixing bugs that were major causes of pain, and also some Capture the Conduit rework and Directed Rewards rework. When it comes to seasonal directive, the structure is hopefully now much more rewarding. They've also been working on bundles celebrating Oraximus, Lunar New Year, Valentine's Day, and St. Patrick's Day, and a Puzzler bundle was released on April Fool's Day, which is a handful of Puzzler-themed cosmetics, and you'll get them all for only 10 certs. But cosmetics and fixes aside, is there something new gameplay-wise to look forward to here in the future? They do say that they are working on a new game mode that hopefully will be launched in Q3, quarter 3. I'm curious to see what that is all about. They also claim that they've saved the most anticipated updates for Q4, meaning towards the end of 2024. Besides the traditional Halloween celebration, they'll release the anniversary update, and Toadman Interactive will introduce a completely new theme, which will include a new vehicle type, armor sets, helmets, weapons, and cosmetics. And it sounds interesting for me. We'll have to wait, though, to see that happen. They end their newsletter, or introduction if you will, by saying that they are experiencing a learning curve, since Planetside 2 is a large and venerable game with many gameplay niches. So the transition has been ongoing for months now, and is also the reason why at least initial updates have been smaller and slower lately than what the community might be used to see. I can understand that. They need some time to get used to everything that comes with a complex game such as Planetside 2. But with a new developer, schedule updates, new content, there's questions or thoughts that comes to mind, and I guess you might have some as well. Feel free to express yourself in the comments. You see, I posted a Planetside 2 video on my channel in December last year talking about the fact that the player count had dropped below an average player count of 1k players. And if we take a look into the Steam charts once again, about 5 months later, we can see that there's been only around 760 players on average the last 30 days. Which means that the game has continued to bleed players. This is worrying me, even though there's quite a few dedicated core community players when it comes to Planetside 2, which of course in situations like this is a good thing. But what happens if more players choose to log out from the game? Sure, we're talking about a 12-year-old game for sure, but also a game where new developers have visions and ideas what they want to do with the game for the future to come. How does that work, you might ask? There's one thing when it comes to actually keeping a player base, another thing when it comes to attracting new players, and maybe even a third one when it comes to getting veterans and alike back into the game if they've stopped playing. This is something that acquires different strategies, especially when it comes to a game that now is old, as mentioned, and have been out for years. I therefore hope that enough fixes and new content, may it be only cosmetics to start with, is added into the game on a frequent basis in order to please the core players that are still logging into the game playing it. And secondly, we need to see some marketing happening if Planetside 2 will be able to see some more positive numbers, if you will, meaning growth. Because even though there's shortcomings, of course, also in a game such as Planetside 2, it is still a unique kind of a game experience, and I'm pretty sure that some of the younger players and generations now would also find that interesting if they only found their way into the game. Best scenario would of course be if it would also be possible to update the visuals, meaning graphics, and also the overall performance in the game if we're talking about servers or a netcode and such things. That would give the game even better odds to actually gain more players if marketed properly. If this would all happen and take place, then I also believe that the developers would win over some of the veterans that might have put the game aside after being playing Planetside 2 for years and years. So what we're talking about here when it comes to the future of Planetside 2 is a combination of content, technical fixes and improvements alongside with a smart marketing strategy if the new owners of the game believe it's worth the investment. Yes, there's a lot to think of, especially now for Toadman Interactive. Their journey has just started when it comes to Planetside 2, and I therefore hope, both for their sake and the remaining players in the game, that this is going to be fun and an interesting development phase and ride to be a part of. Because it would be tragical, let's say in a year from now, if the new owners and developers feel that there's not so much more to do when it comes to Planetside 2 and therefore just leave it to kind of self-die, if you will. That sounds and feels quite unworthy of a franchise that has entertained thousands of players throughout its life cycle. So I'd rather see a message saying later down the line, whenever that might be, that they've reached the end of the road, meaning the development cycle, and that they are therefore forced, you might say, to call it a day. Well, transparency here is the key, keeping the community in the loop, something they have promised they will do, even if it would be bad news coming our way. But let's hope for the best, and I will continue to follow and cover the future development of this massive battle online shooter as long as it's up and running, and I hope you'll continue to play as well. With that said, thanks a lot for watching the video, and I hope to talk to you soon again in an upcoming video here on my channel. Game on and later.